Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive with us?
Definitely.
Today, we're tackling something super relevant
Oh,
for
yeah.
pretty much everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Building resilience.
Resilience, yeah. It's an interesting area.
Absolutely.
Not just about bouncing back from, like, huge setbacks, right?
Right.
Dealing with those everyday stresses, too.
Yeah.
Like, all those things life just throws at you.
Exactly. And the best part is,
Yeah.
resilience isn't something you're just born with or you're not. It's like a skill.
It is.
You can develop it.
Absolutely. It's like a muscle. You can strengthen it.
Exactly.
And we've got some great sources for this one.
Yes, we do.
We're looking at psychology stuff, self-improvement websites, like Very Well,
Yeah.
Mind,
Yeah.
positivepsychology.com.
Love them.
We're going to look at some strategies for student life specifically
Oh, nice.
from campus groups, Washington University,
Great.
and we'll even pull in some wisdom from the American Psychological Association.
Oh, very nice. The APA.
The APA, that's right.
Perfect. So whether you're facing something big or small, or you just want to be ready for whatever life throws your way,
Yeah,
we've got some interesting stuff for you, I think.
for sure.
So first of all,
Yeah.
how do our sources define resilience?
So they emphasize it's more than just being tough.
Okay.
It's about adapting well to the pressures
Okay.
that we all face. Relationship issues, work, stress, health challenges.
Yeah.
It helps us not just survive, but actually grow from these things.
So not avoiding those tough times,
Right.
but navigating them
Yeah.
in a way that helps us
Exactly.
emerge stronger.
Yeah, and a big theme that runs through almost all our sources is the importance of connection.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Having people who get it
for sure.
makes a huge difference, I think, when you're struggling.
It really does. The APA, for example, talks about prioritizing relationships and finding those really empathetic people who validate your feelings.
That's so important,
It is.
especially when you're feeling down.
Right. And campus groups talks about how crucial this is for college students,
Yeah.
especially when they're dealing with increased stress.
Which is always in college.
Oh, it's constant.
Yeah.
They even suggest virtual platforms and online events
Interesting.
to help students find that community.
That's really interesting, especially in today's world, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so connection is key.
It is.
What else comes up in our sources as essential?
Several sources, including Very Well Mind and positivepsychology.com,
Yeah.
emphasize finding your purpose.
Like having that why
Exactly.
that keeps you going.
It can fuel you.
Yeah.
Positivepsychology.com highlights this Viktor Frankl quote.
Okay.
Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing. The last of the human freedoms.
Ooh.
To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances.
Wow.
To choose one's way.
Powerful.
It is.
So even in the darkest times, we have that power to choose.
We do, and they bring up Ikigai, too.
What's that?
The Okinawans concept of your reason for being.
Interesting.
And this sense of purpose could contribute to longevity and resilience.
Wow.
And they have a worksheet in the article
Oh, nice.
to help you figure out your own.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like a compass for life's ups and downs.
Exactly.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
several sources talk about taking care of yourself, physically and mentally.
Right. WashU is really clear on this, saying self-care may be a popular buzzword,
Right.
but it's also a legitimate practice for mental health and building resilience.
I like that.
That's because stress is just as much physical as it is emotional.
So it's mind and body.
It is.
We're talking sleep, exercise, eating well.
All of it.
Okay.
Campus groups stresses teaching students these healthy habits, but they also talk about managing energy effectively to prevent burnout.
Interesting. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, they pull from the book The Power of Full Engagement,
Okay.
and it argues that energy,
Okay.
not time, is the key to high performance.
Okay.
And it identifies 4 sources of energy: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual.
That's a cool breakdown.
It is.
So it's not just focusing on one thing. It's about all those energy sources.
Precisely. It's like with a car.
Okay.
You got to make sure it has fuel, oil,
Right.
and the engine works properly
Yeah.
for a long road trip.
It's a good analogy.
You need to attend to all the elements. So
Yeah.
connection, purpose, self-care, and energy management.
Okay. Those are all crucial.
They are.
What other insights can we get from our sources?
Well, several of them, like Very Well Mind,
Yeah.
talk about positive thinking. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring problems or anything. It's about focusing on what you can control
Okay.
and staying hopeful, even when things are rough.
So like the this too shall pass mentality.
Exactly. Very well. Mine says it well.
Okay.
Positive thinking does not mean ignoring the problem to focus on positive outcomes. It means understanding that setbacks are temporary and that you have the skills and abilities to combat the challenges you face.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not denial,
Right.
but choosing to believe in your ability to overcome.
They even offer tips like visualizing what you want
Okay.
instead of dwelling on what you fear.
Interesting. That reminds me. PositivePsychology.com recommends a book.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly McGonigal's The Upside of Stress.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it explores how seeing the good in stress can actually make us more resilient.
Interesting.
And Washu offers a similar view,
Okay.
encouraging people to acknowledge feelings of grief and loss, but then consciously shift their focus towards problem solving.
Right.
They use the Serenity Prayer as an example.
Okay.
Accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
It's a good one.
Even in chaos, we have choices
Yeah, we do.
in how we respond,
Absolutely.
how we frame things, and what actions we take.
For sure.
Speaking of taking action,
Yeah.
several sources say it's not enough to just think about resilience. We have to actually do something.
Right.
Very well.
Yeah.
Mine says set realistic goals
Okay.
and break them down into smaller steps.
Manageable steps. And Campus Groups has this framework
Oh, tell me about it.
for students.
Okay.
They suggest students ask themselves 4 questions when setting goals.
Okay.
1, what do you need to do?
Okay.
2, how will you measure progress? 3, how will you achieve it?
Okay.
And 4, when do you need to finish it?
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so practical.
It is.
Takes the stress out of it.
Especially when you're already stressed.
Exactly.
And it helps you set yourself up for success
Yeah.
by thinking ahead about obstacles
Okay.
and how to overcome them.
Speaking of success,
Yeah.
and let's be real, sometimes things don't go to plan.
That's true.
What do our sources say about learning from setbacks?
Well, Campus Group says resilience isn't just about academics. It's
Yeah.
about relationships, career pursuits.
Yeah.
It's life.
It is
We're constantly facing challenges,
all the time.
big and small.
Yeah.
And those failures,
Mhm.
whether a bad grade
Yeah.
or job rejection, they're all chances to build up that resilience muscle.
So it's about reframing them
It is.
as opportunities.
Yeah, they even suggest inviting alumni and faculty
Okay.
to share their stories of overcoming
Oh, we
things,
love that.
to inspire students,
So
and
important.
to show them it's possible.
Yeah.
Before we move on from taking action, there's one more thing I want to highlight.
Okay.
Sometimes taking action means asking for help.
That is so important
It is.
and can be so hard,
It can.
but it can be the most resilient thing you can do.
Exactly.
Mom side.
WashU and APA emphasize this,
Okay.
that reaching out to a therapist or support group
Yeah.
can be vital. Yeah.
Especially if you're struggling, you don't have to go through things alone.
Right.
Admitting you need help is a sign of strength,
Yes.
not weakness.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. It's true. Sometimes the bravest thing is just to ask for help.
Yeah. And, it's not always like traditional therapy either.
Right.
PositivePsychology.com mentions therapeutic writing.
Oh, like journaling.
Exactly.
Okay.
They say people who do that
Yeah.
have more well-being
Okay.
and happiness,
Interesting.
even months later.
That makes sense. Journaling has really helped me
We do.
to process things,
It's like a safe space to work things out.
Exactly.
And along those lines,
Yeah.
lots of sources talk about mindfulness and self-compassion. The APA suggests things like mindful journaling,
Okay.
yoga prayer, or meditation.
Those things that help us quiet our minds.
Exactly. Connect with the present moment. And Mind, a mental health charity in the UK.
Offers specific techniques
Oh,
for reducing stress
Okay.
and improving well-being. They talk about the body scan,
Okay.
mindful breathing.
I've heard of those.
They even share Dr. Andrew Weil's 4-7-8 breathing technique.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
It's good for calming down
Nice.
when you're overwhelmed.
What about self-compassion?
So that's about treating yourself
Okay.
with the same kindness
Yeah.
that you would a friend who's going through something similar.
Right.
PositivePsychology.com says self-compassion actually makes you more resilient.
Makes sense. Beating yourself up doesn't help.
Right. They have this exercise where you think of a tough situation
Okay.
and then ask yourself, What would I say to a friend in this situation?
Right.
What tone would I use? What actions would I suggest?
I love that.
It helps shift you
Yeah.
from self-criticism to self-support.
And it reminds me of what we were talking about before, about having that strong support network.
Yes. Connection is so important.
It is.
But it's not just about receiving support.
Right.
PositivePsychology.com says that giving support can also boost resilience.
Oh, interesting.
They suggest doing acts of kindness,
Okay.
volunteering, mentoring, or expressing gratitude.
Like that saying, it's better to give than to receive.
Exactly.
Maybe it takes you out of your own head.
It does. They even cite research by Sonja Lyubomirsky showing that acts of kindness increase happiness and resilience.
Wow.
They also talk about gratitude.
Okay.
Keeping a gratitude journal can really improve well-being.
I've heard that.
When you focus on what you're grateful for,
Yeah.
it's harder to dwell on the negative.
But we've talked about connection, receiving it and giving it.
Right.
But what about when negative thoughts just creep in anyway?
Well, PositivePsychology.com recommends cognitive reframing.
What's that?
It's about changing how you think about a situation.
Okay.
They have a specific example called thought stopping. It involves actually interrupting negative thought spirals.
Okay.
They say you can picture a stop sign, say "stop" out loud,
Wow.
and then think of something positive or helpful.
Like mental jujitsu.
Exactly.
Redirecting that energy.
And this idea of training your mind to be more resilient is central to the U.S. Army's Master Resilience Training Program.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was developed with Martin Seligman, one of the founders of positive psychology.
Interesting.
It uses a lot of the concepts we've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Gratitude.
Right.
Managing energy.
So even soldiers
Yeah.
are being taught this stuff.
They are. They have really interesting exercises.
Oh, like what?
Like the ABC technique.
Okay.
It helps soldiers recognize the activating event that triggers their stress, identify their beliefs about it, and then analyze the consequences.
So becoming aware of those thought patterns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They also learn about thinking traps. Oh, interesting.
Like jumping to conclusions or catastrophizing.
Right.
Which can sabotage our resilience.
Yeah, if we can catch those early,
Exactly.
we can avoid spiraling.
And another key part of the Army program is focusing on character strengths.
I love that.
So they have exercises where soldiers identify their top strengths.
Okay.
Like courage, perseverance, kindness, humor.
Nice.
And they practice using those strengths to overcome challenges.
So cool.
They also appreciate the strengths of their team members.
So recognizing and leveraging our strengths gives us a sense of agency.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from what we lack to what we have to offer.
Powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a lot.
We have.
Connection, self-care, purpose, positive thinking, mindfulness, taking action, seeking support. Anything else from the sources you think is worth mentioning?
Yes, Campus Groups talks about learning to succeed by failing better. That's interesting. What does that mean?
It's recognizing that setbacks will happen.
Okay.
But it's how we respond
Right.
that defines our resilience.
So not avoiding failure,
No.
but embracing it as part of growth.
Exactly. They suggest inviting alumni and faculty to share stories of their own failures.
Oh, wow.
And what they learned.
So important.
Because we all mess up.
We do.
It's what we do after that matters.
And PositivePsychology.com has a tool for processing those failures.
Oh, what's that?
It's their 9 Steps to Forgiveness activity.
Okay.
Developed by Dr. Fred Luskin from Stanford.
I know his work on forgiveness.
Yeah.
How does that relate to resilience?
Well, forgiveness isn't just about the other person.
Right.
It's about freeing ourselves from resentment and anger.
I see.
And that helps us move forward.
Holding on to grudges just keeps us stuck.
Yeah.
Draining our energy, preventing us from moving on.
Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning what happened.
Right.
It's about letting go.
To heal and move on.
Exactly.
And this idea of choosing how we respond is a theme throughout all our sources.
Because resilience is about agency.
It is.
Recognizing that even when we can't control what happens, we can control our thoughts and actions.
Yes. PositivePsychology.com has another great quote.
Okay.
This one's from Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, wow.
He says, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been.
That's deep.
It is.
It's about how we interpret experiences.
Exactly.
We've covered so much.
We have.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
It's true, we could keep going forever with this stuff,
Oh, yeah.
but I already feel like I can handle things better.
I think that's the cool thing about resilience. It's both personal and
Yes.
applies to everyone.
Totally.
Oh, I wanted to mention something else from positivepsychology.com.
Okay.
The idea of flow states.
Oh, yeah.
You know those moments?
When you're just totally absorbed.
Yeah, you lose track of time.
Completely in the zone.
Totally.
Love those.
They actually say experiencing these can make you more resilient.
Really?
Yeah, and they have some ways to identify activities
Oh, cool.
that might trigger that
Tell me.
things that need skill
Okay.
and concentration, intense focus.
Okay.
They should be goal-directed
Mhm.
and give you feedback as you go.
So it's something that challenges you.
Yeah.
And not too much.
Right.
To keep you engaged.
Exactly. And they have another simple suggestion.
What's that?
Find something funny.
Wait, laughter makes you more resilient.
It can. They had this study where people did daily humor activities,
Right.
like writing down funny things or
Fresh.
watching funny videos, and they had less depression
Wow.
and more joy even months later.
I love to laugh.
Me too. It's good for you.
So we should all be watching more comedies.
Right. And they also talk about the silver lining activity.
Okay, what's that?
It's about training yourself to find the positive, even in a tough situation.
Okay, I like that.
So say your weekend trip gets canceled. Instead of being bummed,
Yeah.
find 3 good things about it.
Okay.
Maybe you have extra family time,
Yeah.
you finish that project,
Okay.
or just relax at home.
So shifting your perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To find those unexpected joys.
I like that.
PositivePsychology.com also reminds us about exercise.
Of course.
We know it's good for us,
Right. Mind and body.
but they talk about John Ratey's book Spark,
Okay.
which looks at how exercise affects our brains.
Interesting.
And they say it's important to rest, too.
Yeah. Wow.
We need balance.
Right.
High energy than downtime.
So we don't burn out.
Yeah, otherwise we're less resilient.
Totally makes sense.
One really interesting framework comes from the Navy SEALs.
Oh, wow. The SEALs.
Yeah, they face some crazy situations.
They do. What can we learn from them?
So PositivePsychology.com mentions The Complete Guide to Navy SEAL Fitness
Okay.
by Stu Smith, which talks about their mental and physical training techniques.
Cool. Tell me more.
One principle is stress inoculation.
Okay, that sounds intense.
It's like gradually exposing yourself to tougher situations
Right.
in a controlled way.
Sort of like a vaccine
Yeah, you build up your immunity.
to the real thing.
Exactly.
So stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yes. But in small steps
Okay.
to build up that tolerance.
I like that.
They also do mental rehearsal,
Okay.
visualizing yourself, handling tough stuff.
Because practice makes perfect. Right.
Exactly. And remember breaking things down into chunks.
Yeah. To avoid feeling overwhelmed.
The SEALs do that too.
And for them.
Even the biggest challenge
Yeah.
feels easier one step at a time.
So true.
I think it's important to say
Yeah.
resilience is a journey, not a destination.
I love that.
It's always ongoing.
Right. It's growth and adaptation.
And with all these resources, from ancient wisdom to
Yeah.
modern psychology to tips from soldiers and athletes,
It's really inspiring.
it is. It shows how much support there is.
Totally.
As we wrap up,
Yeah.
what's one thing you want to leave the listener with?
Great question.
Building resilience is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's deciding to focus on your strengths,
Okay.
your connections,
Yeah.
practice self-care,
Right.
and embrace those opportunities that come from tough times.
That's great. So for our listener,
Yeah.
what resonated with you today?
Mm-hmm.
What one small step
Yeah.
can you take this week
Mm-hmm.
to build your own resilience?
Right. Even the smallest thing can make a difference.
Absolutely.
It can lead to strength,
Yeah.
well-being, and fulfillment.
In all areas of your life.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
And until next time, keep exploring,
Keep learning.
keep learning, and keep growing.
Yeah.